Never for money, always for love. Oh, singing to my mouth. Singing to my mouth, okay. God, are you crazy? Go around to the front door. It's opened. God, who does that? Hi. Sorry, you scared the hell out of me. But there must be a mistake. I called your boss and told her I didn't need you until next week.
Need us?
Cleaners? I don't need cleaners until next week. I'm having a party, my sister is visiting, and if I clean now, there will be just enough dust by the time she gets here that Sherry will notice, because Sherry notices everything.
We're not cleaners. Do we look like cleaners?
Well, you knocked, and Oh, you're not, okay. I just let two strangers into my house. Should I be worried? You know, I have an alarm and enough adrenaline now that I promise if you get any closer, I will rip your gonads off.
You want to handle this? I'm Nadra. I thought we would stop by and say hello. This is Bucket Boy. We perform together. I tell stories, he drums. Nice house.
That's very nice. Hello, hello. I was just going out. My husband, the policeman, is upstairs. I'm just leaving now, honey. Make sure you put that gun away.
Well, gotta go.
Oh, don't be an ass. You're Julia.
I know that.
So do I. I'm not from here. Well, I'm from here, but not here. I'm from nearby. Over there, Lakewood.
Oh, by the
By the high school. We went to high school together. Nadra? I'm Nadra. We were friends.
I don't. What was our mascot?
The what?
Mascot. The school mascot at football games. You know, pardon me, I'm just gonna squeeze over here to my phone. Thank you.
We don't want any trouble. Nadra, let's go.
I didn't go to football games. Look at me. I'm Nadra.
She said you went to school together, that you were friends. We were just in town for a couple of days. She wanted to drop by. Let's go.
Mrs. Faith.
What?
Mrs. Faith. Music history. We used to sing, "You gotta have faith, faith, faith," every time she left the room.
I remember that. Nadra.
Yes.
Geez, I'm sorry. High school was 10 years ago. 10 years. Yeah, I have trouble remembering last week, so my life is so crazy. Nadra! Yes, and you are?
He's Bucket Boy.
Buck. Okay. Yeah, I thought I heard that. Okay, did we go to school together too?
No, we didn't. None of us went to school with me. I've never been here before, but I've heard about you, school, here. It's a nice place.
Thanks. Nothing special, just a house. Just me in a house. I've been here for 3 years, still trying to settle in, you know how it is.
Alone?
Yep. Please, can I get you anything?
No.
Thanks, some
we're
water.
good. So that whole yelling, honey thing.
Oh, well, you know. Although I do have to go out soon, so, oh, why do I merit a visit? Have you been talking to my mom? What have you been up to since
High school?
high school? Yes. God, can I get you anything, or did I already ask that? I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm usually way more together.
We're good.
So,
good.
okay. What brings you home?
We had some free time.
Hush. I had some free time.
Isn't that what I said?
And I haven't been back in a long while, actually. Not since I left right after graduation.
Must be strange being back. Of course, most things haven't changed. We still have the drive-in, if you can believe that. And I'm still here. Never left. Went to college, got a job, all right here. Are your folks still in town over in
Lakewood? No. Mom moved to Georgia. I will never understand that. And my dad died while I was still in school.
I'm so sorry. Where did you go?
New York. I needed streets. There aren't any streets here. It makes them very exotic, romantic. I headed there, I live my life on concrete, I perform on street corners, in the subway, sometimes in clubs.
So you're an outdoors person.
I guess you could say that.
So is that what you went to school for? I mean, after?
Not exactly. I was really good at getting thrown out of colleges. After a while, I just stopped going.
Plural? How many?
3.
Jeez. God, I forgot he was there. I forgot you were there. Sorry.
It's my non-threatening demeanor. I get that a lot.
Yeah. So tell me about this performing thing. You know, I did some acting in high school.
I remember.
Of course you do. High school that we went to. Oh, you know, I don't remember you at theater.
I wasn't a theater kid.
That would require joining something. Nadra isn't a joiner.
And yet, here the two of you are together. And what do you do together?
Work. We work. I tell stories about my life, about things that interest me.
They're about her.
You say that like it's a bad thing. Well, is your art very political?
All art is political. And he finds the rhythms.
How do you mean?
Any way I can, I guess. We don't rehearse other than actually performing, and since she never tells the same story twice, I absorb. I listen. It's all improvisation.
Sounds hard. You must be very talented.
When he gets it right, there's nobody better.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to anyone.
Did you bring the gear in? Here, I'll show you. I'm sorry. There's no poetry tonight. Are you coming in on this?
What?
Are we still doing this?
I was just,
Well, come
Yeah.
on then. Let's work.
yeah.
I'm sorry. There's no poetry tonight. I'm not a poet. We won't be singing. The songs you hear will be inside your own head. Of course, we've been taught to call this spoken word. Of course it's spoken. Of course, these are words. When your mother tucked you into bed and turned down the lights and told you about the world, she didn't say, "These are the spoken words, and these are the unspoken words." Maybe she did. You can't sing a love song if you don't know the words. These are the words. This is the unspoken word. You can read every book in the library, or you can listen to me. This is my voice. I walk with strength and I walk with pride, and you can walk with me, or you can get the hell out of my way. I am Allegra, draped in purple, and I walk in beauty with the night. And this is my voice. I'm Anansi, the trickster, the keeper of stories. I tell the truth and I tell some lies, and it's up to you to tell the difference. I'm Calliope, wings wide open in the green subsiding sunset. I'm Evangeline in a black veil, searching the forest primeval for lost love, and this is my voice. I'm Nazima, only my eyes exposed, telling stories of worlds made of clay. I'm Terpsichore, a barefoot daughter of memory lost in dance. I'm Samira, turning my face against the glare of the desert. I'm Cassandra, laughing at Greeks emerging from the ass of a wooden horse. I'm Joan of Arc, dressed in sunlight, with my hair ablaze, and this is my voice. I'm Pandora, dressed in silver, about to open the box. I'm Mary Curry, my bones glowing in the dark. I'm Cleopatra wrapped in a carpet and Sekhmet in her cobra crown. I'm Aradne trailing a ball of twine and holding the Minotaur's hand, and Arachne winding it back together again. I am chaos, cloaked in ashes. I am Iayu in green, in the center of the hurricane, and Kali with my face painted blue and my mouth open with rage. I'm Bessie Smith, bumming a cigarette on Beale Street, and Josephine Baker dancing on Champs-Élysées, and Billie Holiday striding from prison to Carnegie Hall. I'm me. No more and no less. And my eyes are the color of my eyes. And this is my voice.
Wow. I am not a poetry person, but that is something.
It's not poetry. I'm not a poet. I'm not a rapper. I'm not an actress. I tell stories.
That's a lot of things not to be. So you actually have a bucket.
Yeah. Let's see. There's some money in here still from New York. Let's see. 35, 6, 37 cents. €2, I think that's 2. A 5-pound note from 1998, which is really funny because these are worthless now. And let's see. Oh, look. A goddamn wooden nickel, which took some effort. The moron had to carry this thing around hoping just for such an occasion. Asshat.
Wow. Oh. Was I supposed to tip you?
No.
Is that why you put it out?
No. Never for money. It's always for love. I need the bucket to perform. It's part of my setup. To create an atmosphere like I'm going to work, you see?
You need the bucket. I thought he was the bucket.
No, he's the bucket boy.
I'm the bucket boy.
He plays the bucket.
I'm not the bucket. I play the bucket.
He's not the bucket.
But you both have buckets.
Yeah.
Well, I hope one of you doesn't kick the bucket.
So soon.
Yeah. We just got here.
Oh.
This is very disappointing. You said she was clever.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought your group, your band, was called Bucket Boy. Look, I'm getting tired of saying the word bucket. Do you have another name?
We're not a group. We are independent artists collaborating. We're not a band. We don't have a band name or a tour bus.
Just the van outside.
We don't have a logo
Ooh, a logo.
or band outfits. Shut up.
Everybody calls me BB, but my name is Elvin, after Elvin Jones, the drummer. No?
BB.
No, BB.
Isn't that kind of silly?
Don't talk to me. I didn't make it up.
people began.
You?
I began calling him BB after we started working together. It's catchy.
You don't care for it.
Better than some of the things I've been called.
By her? Oh, when I was a kid, my mother would find programs on the radio where they would read stories. I don't know how she did it. There wasn't anyone else I knew who even listened to the radio, but we'd sit on the couch and hear these disembodied voices telling us about new places and new people, lives we wouldn't possibly know about unless those people on the radio told us. Oh, I love this. I've never been able to watch someone reading. You know this town. Neil Gaiman isn't exactly dying to book a tour here.
You know Neil Gaiman?
Not personally. You're more likely to know him than me, but yeah. I mean, I read. I try to elevate myself above the crowd. Life is always going to be stranger than fiction, he said, because fiction has to be convincing and life doesn't. Nadra, I'd love to hear more. What are you working on right now?
There's this piece. It's not really ready yet. I've got all this stuff. There's like too much stuff for me to boil it down right now.
Just tell me the facts then.
That's the problem. So many glorious facts. Okay, Bonnie Parker. You know her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, you don't. The story you know isn't even close to the good parts. If you can call them good parts. She wasn't even 5 feet tall. She wanted to be an actress. She met Clyde, Bonnie and Clyde, yes, when she was 19. And yet, she had another man's name tattooed on her thigh and his wedding ring on her finger. She died of 26 bullets. Clyde played sax. He was 21. She got burned in a car crash that he caused and had to be carried most of the time. And then he chopped off 2 toes, so they both limped badly. She loved movies. She wrote poetry about life as a criminal and how she and Clyde were destined to be buried side by side. They never were. It's sad. I don't want to think about it, and I can't stop.
Such stories.
Sometimes I call myself a fabulist, a teller of tales, except it's usually all true.
I was never creative.
But you did so much in high school, all the clubs and theater. You raised money when there was that bus accident.
God, okay, I believe you now. Bus accident? God, I haven't thought of that in ages. Elvin, I had such big plans. I was going to cooking school in France, then a year in Italy. I would meet Count in Monaco and have 4 babies, which would all eventually become astronauts. I'd be mother to the stars. And then Jimmy Sanders put an end to all that.
I remember Jimmy Sanders. He was a moron.
He was smart enough to get me pregnant. Not that it took, I lost it. Just long enough to keep me here, though. Now my life has become a teen comedy. Cut to montage of Julia and Nadra looking through suddenly discovered yearbooks and sharing makeup tips.
Black eyeliner applied liberally.
Oh, no.
You might actually look really good a bit gothier.
So why are you here again?
It seems to use your bathroom.
Oh, up the stairs to the right. The light is tricky, so just jiggle the switch. I can never find time to get these things fixed, or I'm just too lazy.
You get used to things.
Well, isn't that the truth? I envy you, Elvin. You're out in the world, you do things, you make music. You've probably been to more places than I could fit into the rest of my life. I go to work, I come home. I hate my job, by the way. Thought I'd tell you that in case you had any doubts. And the cat can't stand me.
Oh, you have a cat.
Well, if by have a cat, you mean do I feed an obnoxious animal who won't let me pick her up and refuses to come into the house most days, then yes. And every one of my relationships have been a series of almost comical disasters, so I've been celibate for quite a long time, Mr. Boy, let me tell you. Shocking, isn't it? She's pretty amazing, from what I can see. Frightening. She's really scary, actually. But amazing. There's a special thing between you two.
No, it's just that we...
Now, I feel like there's this secret handshake underground. If I knew the right way to say hello, all these new and wondrous things would just open up for me.
There sort of is a handshake underground. Like, once a month, the really hip folks, they get together and they decide on a new handshake. Some combinations of fingers and hands and a flip of a hair, and within 24 hours, word spreads all over the world, and all the cool people are slapping their palms and banging their shoulders and snapping their fingers on 2 and 4.
Yeah, see, I don't even get that reference. Most nights I can't bear the idea of getting up again in the morning. But I do. I get up, have a cup of coffee, and there's another insufferable day begun.
So why do you do it?
Because I really like coffee.
Is there tea?
Even though it sounded like something you say to people who just drop in unexpectedly, I actually do have to go out later. So I'm gonna go upstairs to get dressed. We do have some tea, and then,
Sure, yeah. We have stuff to do too, right?
Good. Okay, good.
I said this wasn't a good idea. She doesn't have a clue about... I thought you were childhood sweethearts.
It'll be fine. It's fine. It's been a long time. People forget. Do you remember your first love?
Linda Stein, 5th grade.
Shut up. I don't think she's seen anyone. I didn't find any pictures in her bedroom.
What? I'm sorry, is this some kind of new flirting thing? What, did you hack her email too?
Couldn't find her laptop.
Oh.
It must be down here somewhere. Grow up, BB. She's there. Right now. Just where I was standing. The illusion of time is fading, and we're together in space.
Hey, there's something I wanted to say as long as we have a few minutes. I think you're an amazing artist, and I really dig the work that we do together. But if there's anything else that you need, sorry, I'm really not the word person. If I could put it into a drum solo.
Half of what I say is meaningless.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. So I thought that...
But I say it just to reach you. Julia.
Oh, no.
Julia. Julia. Ocean child calls me. So I sing this song of love, Julia. Julia. Seashell eyes, windy smile calls me. So I sing a song of love, Julia.
When I cannot sing my heart, I can only speak my mind.
Sleeping sand, silent cloud, touch me. So I sing a song of love, Julia. Julia.
Did someone say my name? I could have sworn I heard my name.
Do you think I could lie down for a few minutes? I've had this terrible headache all day, and if I could get some dark time, I think it would really help.
Sure. Head down the hallway. There's a little guest room, and just push the stuff off the bed. I don't get in there much.
Thanks. You good?
I'm good. You go ahead.
Is she okay? I mean, maybe I should.
Sometimes I think she's lost her mind.
What do you mean?
Nothing. She's fine. She'll be fine. As she says, there's nobody in the world stronger and more sensitive at the same time than Nadra.
That's not her words. Those are your words. Now, I may live in a small town, but I'm not blind, Elvin. I see how you watch her. She can say the same word a dozen different ways, and you recognize what each one means. I'm worried about her.
It's been a long day. She's really jazzed to see you.
That's nice. And all. And I've got to tell you, I'm still a little fuzzy on us being friends. I mean, I think I remember her, but she just may have convinced me after the fact. I mean, isn't that how brainwashing works?
Probably shouldn't say anything. It's just, she started talking about you a few weeks ago. I think she had a relationship go sour real fast, and we do not do personal. I'm not surprised she remembers you. She has that kind of brain. You obviously made an impression.
Yeah, that's me. People lusting after me from coast to coast.
I didn't mean
Not
to,
blind. Remember? Do you think I can't tell? She had a crush on me in high school, or somebody she knew went out with me and she got jealous, or I don't know, my name popped up on Facebook.
Seems like this happens to you a lot.
No, it is extremely weird having you both turn up at my house, but once you see it, this bizarre geometric desire polynomial that's going on around me, it lights up like a neon sign, Elvin.
She's a good person, Julia. Bizarre? Yes. But you don't have to worry.
I'll never worry. Why should I? It's all gonna fade. You're right, though. A little bizarre. Didn't it occur to you to say that this might not be a good idea, even once?
You don't know. Nadra's view of reality is different. She peeks into alternate universes. How am I supposed to tell what's real anyways? I watched reruns of Soul Train when I was a kid, standing in the living room and dancing. I loved it. Loved it. But my mom would stick her head in the doorway and say, "Honey, you're not black." She was answering a question I would have never thought to ask, and that was okay with her. You spend your entire childhood in an Italian neighborhood, but you're not Italian. But you think you're Italian. You live, you breathe, you taste Italian. So what the hell are you?
Like that movie.
What movie?
The one, where the bicycle kid makes up the Italian accent, except he lives in the Midwest somewhere. Oh, you know, that movie.
I don't watch movies.
Oh, come on. How can you not watch movies? Everyone watches movies.
Then they don't need me, do they? I cannot pay attention that long. There's this big, exciting opening scene or a quiet, artsy opening scene, and after a few minutes, I drift off and do some other things in my head, and when I come back, I don't know what's going on. Somebody's blown up, or somebody's in love, or they're in love and then they blow up. So I ask the guy next to me, "What did I miss?" And while he's telling me, the people in front of me start to give me that shut the fuck up face, and everyone's unhappy. I don't need that kind of pressure. I don't know who the people on the screen are because...
You don't go to the movies.
Exactly. I have to form a relationship with these people. Do I like them? Is he just playing a mean character, but deep down he's a really good guy? Then the movie's over and they go on to another movie where they're playing different characters, and where does that leave me? Heartbroken! So I don't go. I don't have the attention span. I'm having trouble keeping up this conversation, and I sort of like you.
Oh. Yeah, everybody likes me. We are so mired in the inconsequential. You know, there are still some books where they put an entire page in the front devoted to a discussion of the font.
Hey man, don't kill the courier.
You know, somewhere there's a very, very small group of people laughing. Oh, life's too short, Elvin. I've got stuff I can't recall getting, but here they are. You accumulate all this crap and it means nothing. It's a page of fonts. And I'll never get to France by accumulating fonts.
From an estate sale. Lifetime of collecting. Everything must go. Linens. Sterling silver teapot. 3 food processors, 2 never used. Turntable and stereo. Travel slides. Set of dining room chairs. Refrigerator, washer, and dryer. Deep freezer. Power tools. Craftsman 13.5 horsepower riding lawnmower. Vintage sewing machine. Vintage hand tools. Vintage clocks. Vintage rocking chair. 2 folding wheelchairs. 1 never used. 2 powered metal frame hospital beds. Oxygen cart. Family Bible. Be considerate of neighbors when parking.
Home is where I wanna be. Pick me up and turn me around, and I feel numb.
Two friends, if they are friends, escaping the cruelties of big city life and revisit old haunts of a girl's past. But it's the memories that are the ghosts. The doors propped open by confusion and misdirection, and the slight possibility that what she says, the darker the talker, might be true. Because we all want it to be true. It's why we look at old pictures and pick up half-broken projectors at yard sales, thinking about those vinegar-scented reels of film pushed somewhere in a forgotten closet. Not lies exactly, but false names and stories. The stories sound good enough if you don't pay that much attention. So the tales cross like half-remembered family car trips in the station wagon. And just like the kids wiping their hands on the back seat, things get a little sticky. He bangs on things and lives for other people, as if doing that was noble. She performs her thinly disguised life, her eyes fixed on a fiction that might have happened, could have happened, should have happened. He is not so sure. She is not a poet. He is not a bucket. The other one is not a dancer. And yet, that is exactly what they are. The third one. The one that got away never got away. She dances secretly and stumbles because she's afraid to fall. They dance in secret and sing in silence and look at each other, seeing everything exactly as it is, and yet they cannot bear to see reality. And so they bang on things.
Takadimi, 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 takadadum, takadadum, dum ta, takadadum, takadadum.
And that's it. We're back in the living room, which is also the dining room, which is also the breakfast nook, which is also the TV room, and the parlor, which apparently is supposed to be the place for sitting and talking, which is what we do. Pinkies up. Oh, the things you learn in Downton Abbey.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, please. Everybody knows Downton Abbey, unless you live in some kind of cult. Oh. Does she live in a cult? You know what? I don't mean to pry. It's none of my business. It's none of my business.
So those are my choices. Recognize some pop culture reference, or I'm a devil worshiper? No, I don't live in a cult.
Unless you count the one of her own making. Nadra comes from a long line of legends, you know.
Oh, I did notice all of those mythological references in that story you told before. I got most of them except Allegra. I didn't know.
Lord Byron's daughter.
Oh, of course. I walk in beauty like the night. I should have gotten that one. Oh, and Nazima.
A Muslim poet.
Oh.
Not that I like to explain my work, but if I let him answer, he's bound to get something wrong.
That's kind of harsh. Okay, and I'm afraid to admit that I don't know who Billie Holiday is.
I'm stunned.
That's her stunned face. I've never actually seen it before.
You're not helping. Okay. Okay, small town.
Let me tell it.
Fine, go ahead.
Billie Holiday changed vocal music. She sang with Basie, Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw.
You really don't know this?
Her life was as hard as a black woman musician's life could be back then. In 1947, she was the best-known jazz singer in the country and went to federal prison for a year on a drug charge. After a week, she was released. She played to a sold-out house in Carnegie Hall.
Oh, I need to get out more.
Do you have friends?
Yes. Of course I have friends. What kind of question is that?
Nobody who listens to jazz then, I guess. And you said you're not a poetry person?
Nadra.
I'm just getting to know Julia again. Is that okay?
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. No, I don't know poetry or jazz. I've never been to Italy, and I don't know how to make a souffle. But I can tell you that Philip Glass is a master plumber. Mozart loved fart jokes. And Eric Satie carried a hammer in his pocket and only ate white food.
And Duke Ellington never wore a brown suit.
I knew you liked women from the minute I saw you.
Excuse me?
I knew you liked women from the minute I saw you. It was obvious.
We knew each other for what, a year? A decade ago? You don't know me. I barely remember you.
But you do remember me.
Who is that?
Us, that's us.
That is not us. That's certainly not me. And where is that supposed to be? I've never been anywhere like that in my life.
That's us. That's what I remember.
That is some random girls you've decided is you and me in a perfect world. That didn't happen, Nadra. That memory might as well be this. Or this.
I think you do too much protesting, or however the hell that saying goes.
The lady doth protest.
Look at us. We have chemistry. We have a gravitational pull. It's like a physical attraction. It's so obvious. You can tell. Even he can tell.
I am not a factor in this conversation.
Just play something. I see a woman at the edge of this crowd. If you were paying attention, you saw her too when she came in here. Because she's an observer. She saw you. She takes simple pleasures in simple pleasures, paint by number sunsets, or the dog next door. She likes the feel of cold floors on her bare feet so much that it makes her cry. She laughs whenever she can, wherever she can, whether she should or she should not. She puts her hand against her lips so you can't tell she's laughing, but you can tell she's loud. She's happy. She says she's happy. But she looks at her friends and their dreams about children and their hair and their partners and their new coffee makers, and there's no reason why she would want a new coffee maker. She hates coffee, but she just lusts after them just the same. The first thing she looks at is hands. She loves hands, just not her own. She thinks Bonnie and Clyde is a perfect tragic love story. She likes that Bonnie Parker wrote poetry. She hates that she died with 100 people watching. But this is not her story. Bonnie or the woman. It's mine. I see a man in the back of the room who hasn't left his apartment in 3 weeks. His shirt is awkwardly old. His shoes are tenderly new. Maybe it's just being here with you people that puts that painful look on his face. He collects African masks that hang on the walls of his living room and look down on him with eyeless faces. Even though he admires them, he still feels like they judge him. He must do better. He won't look at them in the eyes, even though they don't have any. He watched too many horror movies as a kid. Last time he had a woman in his house, she said something coyly suggestive, and he was so sure the masks were watching with disapproving eyelessness that his face turned a shining magenta red, and she thought he was having a heart attack, and she left. He has a cat named Stanley, one of those hairless cats that everybody thinks is like super freaky, including our man. But he keeps it. And he loves it, as far as Stanley knows. It's a connection so desperately needed that he keeps a reminder on his calendar to pet the cat. After he pets the cat, he goes to the bathroom and he throws up. But this is not his story. Stanley, or the man, it's mine. If you were paying attention, I've told you everything that you need to know. How these two people are made for each other. How every fold and corner and unkept edge lines up perfectly. How she would put her hands on his face and look into his eyes for a moment, and the world would stop, and everything would be okay. I'm sorry, this is not that story. It's not the story of them. Even if they suddenly realized who I'm talking about and they think they could look around for each other, there was never a them. No matter how much you wanted it. The woman who likes hands and the man with the hairless cat, they'll never meet. They will never hug on a chill spring morning in the street outside his apartment with the African mask looking down from his window going tisk, tisk, tisk. She will never admire his hands, which is a shame because They're marvelous. This story has nothing to do with them. You'll never know what happens. Life is like that. This is not the fable where the hero gets the girl. In my fairy tale, I'm the hero, and the princess is in a tower so dangerously high that it sways in the wind, and it's so far that I couldn't reach it if I had wings. And I don't have wings. I don't have sails. I can't be borne aloft on horses or dragons or magic. If you're here looking for magic, hit the road. If you're the one person here with a perfect life, this is not your story. You don't need one. You're okay. Stories don't have to be about perfect people. I've been waiting for mine long enough. This is mine. This is not your story. This needs to be slower.
I don't feel it slower. I feel it just like this. But if you want it to be slower, just do it slower.
Great. There's no shortage of drummers in the world. If you're not into this anymore, do us both a favor and let me know.
Elvin.
That went dark pretty quick. So how's your day going?
Why do you... Just why?
What, her?
She says terrible things to you.
Met her at a party. Actually, I hesitate to use the word party. It was one of those things that rich people do to show off their pet artists.
The handshake underground.
You thought I was joking. It was me, the guy who made massive sculptures out of bike tires.
Again?
Right? An understudy at the Metropolitan Opera, an undiscovered talent, you know, and Nadra. I'd been playing around trying to get a busker spot in the subway. You have to audition to get a permit. So I'd heard of her because she was like a rock star, fierce and defiant, but not like screaming angry. Nobody else was doing what she did on the street. If anybody deserved to not be at this party, it was her.
Did you talk to her?
She talked to me. She talked at me. I used to go everywhere with the drumsticks in my back pocket. I'd drum on things. She dared me to. Nadra likes to invade personal space, get right up close when she talks.
I've noticed.
So with her face practically touching mine, I said to her, I like that you don't need me for these conversations. And she said, play the piano. I said, I don't play the piano. And she said, play the piano. You got it. I took out my sticks, and I drummed on this multi-$100,000 Fazioli, and then we ran like hell out of there. We wandered down dark streets and talked about all the shit that our lives had come from, and life in the city, and the rhythm of words that she would beat out on the patterns just to get the words in the right order. And gee, we should do something together.
And you loved her.
And I didn't see her for a year. I went to a doctor.
For a cure.
Not quite. My ears started ringing. I knew I had bad hearing in my right ear, the hazards of being a drummer. But this ringing was making me crazy. I went to this guy
Oh, the official medical term.
and took a bunch of tests. And he said that he couldn't find anything wrong. That, in fact, my hearing was really good. And my right ear was actually better than my left. This thing that I've known most of my life to be true, it suddenly was not true. I couldn't help but thinking, what else? What else did I not know? I don't really know. It took about a week to find her after that, and I said, let's work together. Let's see what happens.
So here you are.
So here we are.
But is it worth it? I mean, how can you be happy?
It's complex.
Happiness is as simple as it gets, my friend. So what's the deal? Are you going to save her? Make her a whole person? Because nobody saves anybody. That's a myth. I've been waiting to be saved for a long time now. I also went to a guy a few years ago. And there are things going on in my body that I don't need to share with anyone, but they're not good. And that was my broken reality moment. That's when I also realized that a lot of things I thought I knew were horrible lies.
I didn't know.
No,
Can I
see? Stop it. Whatever you think your place in this world is, it isn't. Stop saving people. Some of us don't need saving. Some of us are beyond.
You've got it wrong, Julia. She saved me.
What?
Cities, they take you hard places sometimes, and I was in all of them. I thought I could survive anything, but I was so close to being wrong that I still wake up at night in a sweat. If it wasn't for Nadra, the way she let me share that amazing mind gave me a reason to want to continue. Well, I wouldn't have. She gets impatient with herself and it spills out on me. I'm good with that. She wants to follow her fantasy girlfriend from high school.
Hey.
I'll tag along. I know nothing is going to come of this. How could it? She'll get hurt, and there's nothing that you can do that will end that in any other way. And I'll be here, so she knows where to look.
Can we just sit here a while?
I bought music once from an old man with one of those folding tables. He had discs and tapes and memory sticks and big platters of vinyl. We talked about jazz. We spoke for what seemed like hours, and I never learned his name. But he knew a lot of names I've never known. He talked about Tina Brooks and Marilyn Mazur and Rand Blake like he had just left them in his living room. And Michelle Petrucciani. He was only 3 feet tall. He had a disease that brittled his bones. Just 36 when he died. Other musicians carried him on stage to the piano. They considered it an honor. He was married twice. It was the sounds. The sound a fork makes. The feeling of running water from a tap. Oil shimmering on a hot pan. The smell of black pepper. A little girl's shoes lying in the middle of the road on Constant Street in front of St. Clair Monastery. Smaller than my hand, scuffed blue leather and doll buckles still clasped. They're sitting primly next to each other on cobblestone like schoolgirls. waiting for class. I pick them up. I don't know why. How many times do you walk by something and not pick it up? You keep walking. Why this? Why these? And I don't know where they are now. This story has no end. Without an end? What does the story mean? I mean, it sits there, neglected but not ignored, reminded every now and then, like a song that sticks in your head and won't go away until it suddenly does, and you can't remember what the song ever was. Here's my heart. It's the size of my hand. Listen. And if you drop the mic, it will break. Hey.
Hey.
A little while before we left New York, I had a really nasty breakup.
Kind of figured.
She did terrible things, a real emotional nightmare, you know? I felt abandoned and ugly and worthless. I don't feel like that. That's not me. Down in that pit I found myself in, I remembered your face. Okay, fine. We were never that close. That got blown up in my head a bit. I realize that now. But you were always nice to me. And good. I could tell you were good. I could see it in your eyes. Your eyes are the same. Even if some of the things I had in my head got romantic, I do remember your eyes perfectly. They are the same.
Nadra,
Don't say it. I know you don't have anyone now. And I mean, it could work, don't you think?
Nadra, it's not like that. No, you don't know that. This has nothing to do with you. Okay, the sudden visitation of a rabid high school admirer is still freaking me out a little bit, I admit. But it wouldn't matter if we'd been friends all along. You have to believe me. There are parts of my life that are wonderful. Even here in hometown USA. And there are some parts that really, really suck. And I have to deal with that before anything. I have to take care of myself before I can think about anyone else. Not you, anyone. Come here. Sorry.
Well, this'll make a great story one day.
I expect to become famous. By the way, his name was Roy,
Who was?
Bonnie's husband. Bonnie and Roy. Not quite as catchy, but imagine what her life would have been.
Oh, hi.
Time to go?
Yeah, it's getting a little crowded in here. You know, I'm gonna get my stuff.
Okay, I'll be in the car.
Did you pack up already?
I never really unpacked.
You had that much faith in me. Why'd you bother coming?
At least she's talking. I think she'll be mad at me for a while.
Insufferable, I'd imagine. Because you were right.
Because she was wrong. Does not like being wrong. Does not like putting herself out there.
But she did it. That counts. Look, it doesn't matter if I'm attracted to Nadra or you or a ball of blue yarn in the corner. I wasn't in this equation. And I'm not sure you are either. That's your choice. She doesn't need a lover. She needs someone to say yes, to stand by her choices even when they're stupid. And I think she knows that's you. Or she wouldn't have dragged you out to this little slice of heaven with her. Just be there. Don't save her. Don't fix her. You're an artist, Elvin. Do what you do best. Create.
What about you?
Me? Hey, this is my movie. There's either a big explosion at the end or everything ends happy. I'll be here until the credits run. But I haven't seen the ending yet, so. Hey, don't. That thing we talked about.
Ain't nobody's business. But I'll check in.
Just no more unannounced visits, okay?
Home is where I want to be. Pick me up and turn me round. I feel numb, born with a weak heart, so I guess I must be having fun. The less we say about it, the better. Make it up as we go.
Alison Burns, Gloria Muñoz,
Okay.
and Mark Feinman. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here.
I see a woman at the edge of this crowd. If you were paying attention, you saw her too when she came in here. Because she's an observer. she saw you. She takes simple pleasures in simple pleasures, paint by number sunsets, or the dog next door. She likes the feel of cold floors on her bare feet so much that it makes her cry. She laughs whenever she can, wherever she can, whether she should or she should not. She puts her hand against her lips so you can't tell she's laughing, but you can tell she's loud. She's happy. She says she's happy. But she looks at her friends and their dreams about children and their hair and their partners and their new coffee makers, and there's no reason why she would want a new coffee maker. She hates coffee, but she just lusts after them just the same. The first thing she looks at is hands. She loves hands, just not her own. She thinks Bonnie and Clyde is a perfect tragic love story. She likes that Bonnie Parker wrote poetry. She hates that she died with 100 people watching. But this is not her story. Bonnie or the woman. It's mine. I see a man in the back of the room who hasn't left his apartment in 3 weeks. His shirt is awkwardly old. His shoes are tenderly new. Maybe it's just being here with you people that puts that painful look on his face. He collects African masks that hang on the walls of his living room and look down on him with eyeless faces. Even though he admires them, he still feels like they judge him. He must do better. He won't look at them in the eyes, even though they don't have any. He watched too many horror movies as a kid. Last time he had a woman in his house, she said something coyly suggestive, and he was so sure the masks were watching with disapproving eyelessness that his face turned a shining magenta red, and she thought he was having a heart attack, and she left. He has a cat named Stanley, one of those hairless cats that everybody thinks is like super freaky, including our man. But he keeps it. And he loves it, as far as Stanley knows. It's a connection so desperately needed that he keeps a reminder on his calendar to pet the cat. After he pets the cat, he goes to the bathroom and he throws up. But this is not his story. Stanley, or the man, it's mine. If you were paying attention, I've told you everything that you need to know. How these two people are made for each other. How every fold and corner and unkept edge lines up perfectly. How she would put her hands on his face and look into his eyes for a moment, and the world would stop, and everything would be okay. I'm sorry, this is not that story. It's not the story of them. Even if they suddenly realized who I'm talking about and they think they could look around for each other, there was never a them. No matter how much you wanted it. The woman who likes hands and the man with the hairless cat, they'll never meet. They will never hug on a chill spring morning in the street outside his apartment with the African mask looking down from his window going tisk, tisk, tisk. She will never admire his hands, which is a shame because they're marvelous. This story has nothing to do with them. You'll never know what happens. Life is like that. This is not the fable where the hero gets the girl. In my fairy tale, I'm the hero, and the princess is in a tower so dangerously high that it sways in the wind, and it's so far that I couldn't reach it if I had wings. And I don't have wings. I don't have sails. I can't be borne aloft on horses or dragons or magic. If you're here looking for magic, hit the road. If you're the one person here with a perfect life, this is not your story. You don't need one. You're okay. Stories don't have to be about perfect people. I've been waiting for mine long enough. This is mine. This is not your story.